Welcome, everyone, to Apple One-to-One. It is time for the only Apple podcast with two former Apple retail employees with around 20 years of combined experience. I'm Will TLD, the former Apple specialist, creative, and genius. And along with me is the former Apple creative, retired book publisher, soccer mom recorder, Jurassic Park owner, black coffee drinker, juror number 12, retirement home, president of the Keto, Trout drummer, Mr. Frank Funk is here with us today.
Hey.
It's been a while since we've done a podcast.
It has. That was a mouthful, man.
Yeah. Hey,
my
introduction
gets any longer.
Yeah, I know. I've cut you down. Like I don't get. I barely put myself over, even though I love doing that. But at the end of the day, we're here to talk about the iPhone 16e, which was a nice the Apple event, or if you want to call it an event, what would you call it? Apple reveal, whatever you want to call it.
I was, to be honest with you, I was expecting a little more.
Okay. But let's talk about the details of it. So, sure. A lot of people expected this to be an SE model, right? They thought, okay, there's going to be a price increase. That was the rumors going into it,
right?
And Apple's kind of changed it now to the point where, hey, this is going to be an iPhone 16 experience, but cheaper.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
That's essentially what it comes down to. Yeah, and one of the biggest things that I was surprised that this is the first phone where they're using their modem.
Yeah, so that was probably that's the biggest takeaway from this. What is this modem going to do that'll help improve the battery life of this? And this stems back from when Intel was bought, the Intel modem was bought from Apple. So this is back in 2019. They bought that cellular modem, and it took them this long to finally reveal that their own cellular chip is inside here, not using a Qualcomm. And this was the day I was talking about, where the day that Apple no longer relies on Qualcomm is the day I would sell the Apple stock, sell their stock, which right now today I am not. I already sold it too late. I bought myself a car. So,
What'd you buy?
I bought an Equinox. I bought that Equinox.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I bought a car.
Well, we're not talking about you, Frank. We're talking about me.
Oh, okay.
I already gave you all this stuff. So let's talk about a couple of features of this iPhone 16e that I thought are interesting. Number one is the playback. So the battery life is extended on this phone, and this has to do with the C1 chip being inside. So we have to watch people review this phone to really get the idea of what this is going to be.
Well, I mean, they're claiming 26 hours of playback, which is pretty
12 hours. That's 12 hours more than the 15 or no?
Yeah,
the SE. I'm sorry, the original.
Yeah, the SE3. Right.
So
and now, the other thing
I don't want to compare that phone though, because there's nothing about that phone SE I would compare to this phone at all.
Right,
like, really.
and it's dead now. It's gone.
Right. It's dead too. Like this would be more like, I think, comparing a 14, because they're using a 14 body in this with the parts of the 16
architecture. Right. Exactly.
That's what they're doing in this phone. They do have wireless charging, but no MagSafe, so you can't use any MagSafe stuff with this.
Yeah, that was kind of strange.
I wonder how much that really costs. I mean, I guess they have to make sure they make the $200 difference worth it. In the end of the day. That's why. I mean, some people don't care about MagSafe. I can tell you, my wife don't care about MagSafe.
Well, I thought that perhaps it was because it does have a larger battery. So I thought perhaps they gave up the MagSafe for additional battery space. I don't know.
I don't know either. The front camera is the same as 16. It's a telephoto built into. There's no wide angle. It's a 1 or 2 times there. It's got the satellite coverage built into it, and obviously it's built with Apple Intelligence, because that's what Apple can't stop touting about. They put the same chip in there, but the reveal was a little bit more, is that the cores are not as much as the other phone, so it's not as strong of a core on that chip. So they have different cores in the Pro, in the 16 and the 16e.
Oh, I think
on there with the same RAM though. There's still 8 gigs of RAM, so that allows the Apple Intelligence feature to work, which I think was smart too, because they should have Apple Intelligence on that phone. I was hoping that they were going to do that. I would have been really skeeved if they didn't go that direction.
Well, with that. That's true, but I do believe that they need to have some distinctions between the 16e, which now is your first entry level into the iPhone
I think
and
what's
the Pro. So, you got a wide gamut of range there that you need to differentiate between, the 16E, the 16,
Mhm.
and the Pro. So, you got to factor that in a little bit, I
I would
believe.
even compare the 15. So I think you should compare the 16E, the 16, and the iPhone 15 because that's the one that's still on sale. Remember
Right.
that the 14 has been discontinued. They completely got rid of the 14 now. So now you can only buy that in the aftermarket at this point, or at the probably at the cell phone stores. You could probably get that. So
Yeah.
they're selling it, and that's the comparison I would make. Look at the 16E, the 16 and the 15, and look at the compare iPhone models. I'm actually going to put a screenshot on the screen. Go through that page, scroll through, and look at the differences between the cores, the Apple Intelligence, all the cameras, all those things. I mean, there's no dynamic island on this, so you want to look through it on there. And the price that they announced it at was $599 for
Right.
128 gigs. So we are getting the storage in there, which I think is important too. So the
Yes.
stores is
Absolutely.
good. That was a good starting part for the store. So now everything
Yeah.
starts at 128 now.
Yeah. And you have, like you said, the USB-C charging. So,
Right.
uh, your
No more lightning on iPhones.
compatibility.
They're all gone.
Yep, no more lightning. That's all. That's all done. So from device to device, your USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about the camera. Since you're a videographer, what do you think of this two-in-one camera?
So I mean, I already like. I don't have the 16. I have the 15 right now. That's what I have, a 15 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still very much a fan of the cameras inside. I'm still. They're still great. They're not a replacement for my $3,000 camera. They're not.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
I
but
mean, they absolutely get the job done. I think iPhones have the best cameras. They have the best camera system. I personally think. I honestly, looking at all the other photography options out there regarding
Mhm.
phones, I think iPhone, especially on the video side, is nowhere near compared to it. It has night mode, which is great. I was one of the things I was worried about wasn't going to have night mode on there, but it does.
Yeah.
So there is advantage there. There's no stabilization in there. That's the only thing, is that they got rid of the action save feature
Right. Right.
on there, so that will not be there. I don't use it that much though, to be real honest with you, because it crops
Yeah.
the image in, so
Right.
it
Right.
does take away a little bit too much, I think, of that.
Mhm.
And I think the stabilization is already pretty good.
Well, I have the 16 Pro, and I've gotten quite a few comments on my YouTube channel for my drum videos. On people asking me what kind of camera are you using, and a lot of them are surprised that I'm just using the iPhone,
Right.
because for the most part, unless I screw up somewhere, it's like crystal clear. The only thing I have to work on is two cameras, that multicam. But
Hey, we have
being,
a great video that'll explain how to do that here on the
yeah,
channel. So if you go look down a few months ago, we have
I
a
got
Final
that.
Cut Pro on iPad video that
Yeah.
we did. So check that out.
However, being a one-man show, it's a little difficult to coordinate. But I'm working on it.
Fair enough.
So,
Well, I also have a video on multicam, so you can learn about multicam in the regular
Yep.
Final Cut app on Mac. So we have that video on there. So any other excuse, Frank?
no excuse.
No,
It's
all
no
right.
excuse. It's
Yeah.
just when you're here by yourself, you get kind of lonely. You need a little help sometimes.
A couple of hidden little things about it. Again, there's no 64 gig storage. The SE was discontinued on the 14. No cinematic mode because you need both cameras to do that. There's no dual. I don't know what even this is. The dual cell high speed downlink. It basically allows two carriers to work at the same time. No
Yeah.
micro photography and no camera control. They did put the action button in there, which
Yeah.
I think is a plus to do that. So that's what the phone was really about, and it's going to be released on February 28th. You can pre-order Friday. So honestly, for $599, is it worth it, Frank? Would you, like, if you're looking at, okay, well, we have a 16E for $599, we have iPhone 15 for $699, and we have an iPhone 16 for $799. You're trying to compare phones.
Right.
What phone would you say is valued correctly?
Well, here's my take on it. If what's your primary use? What's the user's primary focus of the device? If they're what I term a casual,
let's go with our wives. Let's put our wives on there who are not tech savvy people.
Right.
Okay,
so
we have to buy them a new phone. The phone right now is dead. Which one would you get them?
I go with the E, without a doubt.
Okay.
As long as she would be satisfied, I'd go test it out. I'd go to the store with the camera because when she was at the oh yeah, by the way, she went to the Eagles parade.
Yeah, well, that's a waste of time. And how many people died that day?
Only two were shot. I don't know if they died.
Only two were shot, and then on top of it, how much damage occurred on the city? How many more light poles came down on there? What great people that you defend.
Same thing would have happened if the Giants won, but wait a minute. I don't know if they had telephone poles last time the Giants won.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be more like Dallas.
Dallas.
Here's the thing: the AOL was the primary internet provider when the last time they won the Super Bowl. Let's just get that out there.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Dial up, okay?
Right? No. I mean, yeah, I guess that was dial up. Yeah.
So, well, but anyway, getting back to the phone, with the focus being your basic model. Like I have some neighbors and friends where this would be ideal for them. In the sense that, they don't use notes. I try to explain to them how they can use it, but they're like, oh, I like my paper calendar. Okay. So this would be, I think, ideal for that type of user that wants to use it just as a basic device, limited communication, of the phone itself, but not really using texting all that much or email, that kind of stuff. But so I would think that would be a primary way to get into the infrastructure of Apple, and then perhaps graduate in subsequent editions. Now, the other thing I found fascinating, you got two choices: black or white.
That's it.
Yep.
Very old school Apple to do that. We're going back to iPhone 5 here. I think something like that.
Let's face it. You get any color you want, and then what do most people do?
Put a case on it.
Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Yeah. The color never really matters to me ever. I never care about the color. Like I'll get like the nice color because it's new. Like I got the blue one on this one. I got a clear case, so I could see a clear case is my way to go.
I like the green one that they had a while back.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, but it's like so you get the green or the blue or
that forest green
color you like, and then the first thing you do is you go plop a case on it. So like, I don't know.
They even today, even the Apple event today, they talked about putting a case on it, so they knew that the black and white color was BS.
Yeah.
And they actually put like, oh, well, you get these two colors, but you can buy all these cases with colors on them, and to match your personality.
Getting back to basics. Well, you buy your basic phone, and then you have a whole array of accessories you can put on it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a pro user by the end of the day. I have no choice to be based on what I do. So regarding like my wife, would I recommend a 16? Yeah, I mean, I absolutely would. There's nothing that she uses on this phone now that I don't think a 16E would, suffice, other than the dual camera. And obviously they have a feature built in there for a dual option within the 16E. Will she miss the wide angle lens? That's the only thing. She does have a little photography experience. The portrait mode is there. So, I mean, it's still, I don't know. I think she'd be fine with that. And that's for the non-techies, that's just who it's for.
And the other thing is the size. I think the size of the phone itself is going to appeal to a lot of individuals. But I will tell you, from using my Pro, every time I go to a smaller one, I'm like, oh, I don't like this at all. I'm so used to the larger screen now,
So let's talk about the pricing, right? So we go from $429 to $599 for this. Let me ask you, Frank, do you feel like that Apple should still be in a $429 environment for an iPhone? I'm putting you on the spot. Now, I personally will tell everybody, go to the aftermarket. if you're going to get if you want a cheap iPhone, go to the aftermarket,
Right.
buy it somewhere, look up the battery health before you buy it.
Right.
And
Right.
obviously you're going to get no Apple Care option either. So that's another risk you take where you do. Look at all those things. Even try to find one that may have Apple Care still on it. We can extend Apple Care now for a long time on these phones compared to back in the day. So that's what I think. If you're looking for a under $500 phone, then you have to look. I think you have to look at the aftermarket, and that's the only option you have, obviously. And I still think that's fine, for this. But if you're looking forward, where the iPhone SE was at 3 compared to where we are now, that phone was so far behind on things. It was using an iPhone 8 body. It was so old. And I would have never recommended that phone to anybody. Yeah. I would have told people, it was only like a couple bucks more to get the 14.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I sold, I wanted to give it to him, but my daughter wouldn't let me. We had my wife's old phone, which was the 10, I believe. Okay. And so we gave it to my youngest grandson, sold it to him. Out on the site, they said they would give me $200 for a trade-in. So I sold it to him for $200. But here's what I would tell people to do. Like you said, for the aftermarket, if you can pick up an older phone for a cheap price, once the 16E hits the market, I suspect you're going to see carriers offering, upgrade to the 16E. We will take any phone in exchange. So, pay a couple $100 for a phone, bring it in, exchange it for a new 16E, and you're in the ball game for even less money. I mean, you're tied into a contract with a carrier, but so what? You're going to need a carrier anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. So I looked up, like right now, I'm looking at iPhone 14. I'm looking at a 128 model on the aftermarket. I see people selling this for $450, for $400, $330, $400, $450.
And they're all 128, right?
They are all the ones I'm looking at are 128, yes.
Yeah. So you're going to spend that. Why not for another $200 get the I'm not one to buy old technology.
Okay.
I don't know why. I know you can get it cheaper, but you're always chasing the latest and greatest thing. So if you're in the market for a phone, you can pay the $600, and if you have the Apple Card, you get zero financing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you could do the iPhone upgrade program, or as well. You can upgrade your phone all the time. Honestly, like it's a toss up for me. Like Apple Intelligence is not really hitting the mark I think that they really wanted to, and I think that's their fault for not having it all ready to go. Yeah. So it's like the expectations. I mean, honestly, the last time the only thing I use Apple Intelligence wise is a very small amount of ChatGPT, which we have a video here on how we can use that on your own Mac. So I don't need it on Siri at all. Or if I want to proofread something and change that to make it a little more professional. Beyond that, I don't use any of the Apple Intelligence features. Maybe cleanup, and that would be, I guess, considered a feature.
I use that in much the same way. I have a I don't know what you would want to call it, but I have a journal. Let's put it that way, where talking about how I started playing the drums, pictures of the drums I have, and so on and so forth through the years. From when I started in grammar school, high school, the guys I played with. So anyway, I have that written out. So what I've done is I've highlighted certain areas and asked it to rewrite it. And that's coming along pretty well. I like that. I do like the rewrite feature because I'm just not a professional writer, and I put my thoughts down, but this kind of adds a nice professional flair to it. It sounds better than if I wrote it. So
Right.
I do
Honestly,
like that
there's a
feature.
there is a 12-minute video on the whole iPhone 16 on their YouTube and on their main Apple page. You can go take a look at it. Honestly, like 4 minutes were spent on Apple Intelligence, which okay,
Yeah.
or even iOS 18. Like it's just like they could have skipped a lot of that stuff. To be
The
honest,
other thing,
yeah, go ahead.
I was surprised that they did. I mean, I didn't get an announcement that there was an event. So
There was one. Tim announced
was
it on
there?
his Twitter. Yeah, there was absolutely. There was on
Um,
Twitter. It was everywhere. There was definitely an announcement.
Well, I saw that, but I mean, you know how like last time we got an invitation, join
Oh
us.
yeah, I mean they weren't going to do that for this.
Yeah,
It's not necessary.
Yeah. So other
No.
than that, I mean, I thought there may have been a few more things, but there's still rumors out there about a 30 now instead of a 27-inch iMac, a 32-inch iMac, which
I
I
don't
don't
see
know.
it.
I don't.
I don't see it. I mean, this is the first Apple product of the year. After last year, we didn't even really talk about last year whatsoever. I don't know. I don't think last year was that great, especially that the Vision Pro came out and the hype died on that.
Yeah, I
within
know
like a month.
you keep poo pooing the Vision Pro, man. I gotta tell you, I liked it.
You didn't buy one. Did you buy one after
I did not buy one,
so
but I
there you
liked
go.
it.
And you could buy
liked
one.
it.
Yeah, I know you like it,
buy
but
one,
you
yeah.
didn't buy one. That's
I
not
could
the
walk out of
point.
there that night with one. Yes,
I
you're
know,
right.
and you didn't. So
But
that tells me everything right there.
Well, what was
You're not starving for money. You have money. You could do this, okay?
I don't.
And you didn't buy one because your wife will not let you because she doesn't want you walking around with your buggy eyes blowing out on the Vision Pro, freaking her out. And I don't want no. Like you can't. This is a product that is not ready for everybody. Not at that price point.
Well, I'm not everybody.
Oh, jeez. So all right. Bottom line, iPhone 16e is out. We want to discuss it. Just have a conversation about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the wonderful
We
commentary.
didn't talk about the satellite coverage. That you get
There's satellite coverage, everybody on there. So just so you know, in case you're stuck in a mountain and you are unable to get out, you can do Find My, which then will share to your friends, and then you can try to call Emergency SOS to pick you up out of a helicopter. At least you get a helicopter right out of the deal.
Yeah, but if they do that, then you got to pay for the rescue.
Yeah. Did you do the beta, by the way, for the T-Mobile? That was a pretty big announcement on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I signed up for the beta.
Did you?
So, I'm going to see what that's like. I want to try it out. Yeah. So, for those, everyone knows about that, so I'm not going to bother. But anyway, it's available February 28th, $599 if you want to get this phone or not. It's up to you. If you're in the market to get a phone, great. I think it's a pretty good option. Yeah. I think for me personally, from a tech side, I want to see what the C1 chip does because guarantee that's going to be in the next set of phones.
Yes,
without a doubt. So that to me is if there's a piece of technology that's in this phone that my curiosity has piqued, it is that C1 chip and see how the battery life has improved and if it's actually still very good coverage and you don't have drop calls, all that stuff. That is like important because if this works out great, then they could both. Then now Apple has just added more control to their phone without having more and more people on it.
So you're saying the 16e is a beta tester for the?
It's a beta tester
Apple modem,
cellular modem inside of it. Yes. So
there you go.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this podcast. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We're going to, of course, have more training videos throughout the weeks. We appreciate you. We try to do one once a week for everybody and keep your ideas coming. Thank you for making us have 8,000 subscribers. Amazing feat. No advertising. It's just people coming here and enjoying our content. So thank you very much. So for Frank, I'm out and we love every single one of you.
Take care.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for viewing our content. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe so you can see all our training videos as well as links to download our podcast.